Hello, my name is KyAmbrae Williams, and I'm here to talk about communication. So, what's that noise? What is communication? Communication is defined as the process of transmitting information from one person to another, such as me speaking to you via YouTube right now. Some key points in communication that we'll be covering today are perception, the kinds of communication, formal versus informal communication, and verbal and non-verbal communication. All are very important aspects, and we will cover them in as much detail as possible. We have perception, or the perception process. Perception is defined as the process by which individuals attend to, organize, interpret, and retain information from their environments. According to the text, as people perform their jobs, they are exposed to a large number of various stimuli. Examples of stimuli include, but are not limited to, emails, break room gossip, and speeches given by CEOs towards the employees and the management team. There are a few problems with perception. Though employees are exposed to the same exact stimuli, they can perceive things in very different ways. Selective perception is defined by the text as a tendency to notice and accept objects and information consistent with our own values, beliefs, and expectations, while ignoring or screening out inconsistent information. An article published by Psychology Today titled "Selective Perception and Attention at the World Cup" reports on a study done in 1951. It concluded the fact that though penalties were given by the referees and seen by all spectators, each spectator individually took it differently. The recollection of the game was different depending on personal factors such as which team they were rooting for, what kind of referee they thought it was, and others, not the stimuli. We have the attribution theory. What is the attribution theory? It is defined as the theory that we all have a basic need to understand and explain the causes of other people's behavior. For example, when John had a flat tire and you pass by, what do? I personally wonder what happened, but others go as far as to say things like, seems like someone's having a bad day. They project the person's current situation to them. Next, we will speak about the kinds of communication. Next, we have the interpersonal communication process. It starts off with the sender having a message that needs to be conveyed. Next, they encode the message. They transmit the message, and between transmitting the message and the receiver receiving the message is called the communication channel. After the receiver receives the message, they then begin to decode the message. And when the message is understood and a message is sent back to the sender, this is called feedback to the sender. Now, to speak more specifically on encoding and decoding messages, encoding is defined as putting a message into a written, verbal, or symbolic form that can be recognized and understood by the receiver, which is very important. For example, do not type an email in Spanish when it is going to someone who only speaks Japanese. Decoding is the process by which the receiver translates the written, verbal, or symbolic form of a message into an understood one. If you were to send this Spanish email to a Japanese-speaking person, they would not be able to decode the message correctly, therefore interrupting the communication process. To me, one of the most important things about communication to remember is noise. Noise is anything that interferes with the transmission of the intended message, whether it be a barking dog, a crying baby, or body language. When someone is fiddling with their fingers, swaying back and forth, and can't keep eye contact are all distracting the receiver from the original sender's message, therefore creating noise. Creating noise interferes with the communication cycle as well. Next is jargon. I like to think of jargon as business savvy slang. Words such as right sizing and delayering are terms that the average person would not necessarily know the meaning of. There are also words such as unsiloing and knowledge acquisition. Next, we have formal communication versus informal communication. Both are very, very important, and it is necessary to keep them apart. On your left, we have examples of informal communication. Upward communication channel, downward communication channel, and horizontal communication channels are very important. Downward flows from the higher to the lower, CEO to employee. Upward is vice versa, from the employee to the CEO. And horizontal flows among managers and workers who are on the same organizational level. On your right, we have examples of informal communication. It is also known as the grapevines. Everyone knows the phrase, you heard it through the grapevine, like the song. It's usually spread face to face, like gossip, but is a very important source for feedback from managers. And nonverbal communication. I have a pie chart provided by Jay Moreland from the Emotional Investor, which gives us a distribution of the percentage of communication in terms of verbal and nonverbal. As you can see, verbal communication, such as speaking to you now, is only 35% of communication. 65% is usually nonverbal, which includes but is not limited to facial expressions, tone of voice, movement, appearance, eye contact, gestures, and posture. You are always taught to sit up straight and look someone directly in the eye. These are positive forms of nonverbal communication, which give off a good message. Again, my name is KyAmbrae Williams, and thank you.